1 month to the day since I started this project, and here's the first unit. A block of 21 classic metal Ironbreakers, based on 25mm squares for Warhammer the Old World. In this video, I'll be looking at the figures, the history of the sculpts, and some of the lore behind them. Why 21, you ask? Well, without any games under my belt as of yet, and rulebooks still somewhere in the post, I'm not quite sure how I'm going to field these. If I end up going for a wider frontage, then it lets me run 3 ranks of 7. If, however, I decide that as an anvil, clue perhaps in the standard bearer, I'd rather use smaller frontage, of say 5 figures, then it lets me take 21 Ironbreakers and the king on shield bearer for a full block of 5x5. The other part of these progress updates I'd really be looking forward to making is digging into the history of the range, the figures themselves, and the lore behind the various individual units. These models first graced the pages of White Dwarf in edition 252 of December 2000, on the Advanced Order page for a Dwarf army deal released to celebrate the launch of the range. The figures were then released as a standalone product in February 2001, with the second batch of Dwarf releases. They came in 2 blister packs, one containing 3 command figures and the other a selection of 3 regular Ironbreakers. Colin Dixon sculpted 4 such Ironbreakers for the unit, 2 with pointed helms, faintly reminiscent of the Sutton Hoo helmet, and the other 2 with flat-topped great helmets, sometimes known as a bucket helm. I particularly like this sculpt with the plaited beard, definitely my favourite one of the unit. If we compare another figure, you'll notice on many of them they have this runic script emblazoned quite prominently on their bellies. This harks back to the way their armour worked in 5th edition perhaps, in which Ironbreakers were equipped unusually for non-characters with magic armour, specifically heavy armour engraved with a rune of stone. In the 6th edition this would be updated to Gromril armour, the flavour text describing it as the toughest and most sturdy armour known in the world. It's known variously as Meteoric Iron, Silverstone and Hammernaut armour. Gromril armour is linked to wealthy dwarves and the elite Ironbreakers. The stories behind the Ironbreakers themselves describe them as defenders of the deepest, least visited tunnels of the Dwarven strongholds against foes such as the Night Goblins, Skaven and Trolls. You'll perhaps notice the scenic backdrop I finished. After seeing some incredible photos of units displayed against people's custom-built tables on Instagram, this is something I'd always wanted to do, and with a collection this long in the making, it seemed only fitting to create one for this project in particular. The landscaping and rock faces I created a few years ago for a small Armies on Parade display, but I repainted and flocked it to tie in better with the dwarves. There'll be a separate video up on the channel soon, going through the different techniques I used on the flock, as it's a method that seems only really to be known in the historicals community, and even then I'm yet to find another video on the platform describing the technique. So that's the first update. Next up I think there'll be some Thunderers for a little break from all that polished armour.